Keith Suchman here, producer of SciTech Long Island. Please stay tuned for our second episode now. You'll be meeting Emily, who will be introducing you to Laura Weinberg and students of the Great Neck Breast Cancer Coalition Student in Sciences Research Program. Stay tuned. This is going to be an amazing show for you.
The Great Neck Breast Cancer Coalition was founded in 1992. And we assist newly diagnosed women with breast cancer through our Lend a Helping Hand program. Originally, we came up with this idea at a board meeting to have a scholarship program for students.
We're here at the 10-year anniversary of the Great Neck Breast Cancer Coalition's Students and Scientists program, coming to celebrate all of the projects that have been done in the last 10 years and kind of get together and discuss what we've done afterwards and our research.
We researched on biopolymers, so improving bioplastics, because the bioplastics industry is a growing industry. It involves using renewable plastics that we get from cellulose, that we get from natural materials. The problem with these bioplastics is that they tend to be weak, and so we worked on reinforcing them, strengthening them so that we could use them industrially, so we could use them in everyday life.
I actually have a few cases in my family that involve breast cancer, and I really wanted to help myself make an impact on future research, and not only for this generation but future generations to come, to hopefully one day have a healthier and safer environment where cancer won't be an issue.
I'm really interested in researching for breast cancer and such, mainly because one time my one-time aunt, she had breast cancer. Luckily she got cured of it, but it was a emotional time for my family, so I found that it was kind of important for me to do this type of research.
When the students come back from their lab experiences, they actually speak in the community to help people understand that there are ways that they can reduce their risk of breast cancer through reducing their exposure to environmental toxins.
I think especially now girls are getting involved in math and science and research. As a biology major, I see in my classes there's definitely a large female presence, so I think it's definitely changing, which is good.
The students have been, from the district, have been terrific. They've helped us with fundraisers. Aside from doing the laboratory research and going to conferences, they've been very supportive to us throughout the year.
Hi, I'm Emily Austin. Welcome back to SciTech LI Episode 2. Today I'm here with Laura Weinberg, so welcome and introduce yourselves.
Okay, I'm Laura Weinberg, as you just mentioned, and I'm president of the Great Neck Breast Cancer Coalition. And these are student interns from our research program.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Wong. Hi, I'm Robin Shum.
Hello, my name is Shahir Khan.
Hi, my name is Michael Shan.
Hello, my name is Sunny Shi.
And hi, my name is Sydney St. Hilaire.
Nice to meet you all. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Tell us about GNBCC and how and why did you join and then become president?
Well, about 21 years ago, I became very alarmed because there were a lot of women in my neighborhood that were diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh.
And I'm not a survivor, but I was bringing up two young girls, and I was really actually just very angry and also frightened, and I didn't know whether or not to stay in Great Neck or Long Island after hearing about the high incidence of breast cancer, or to take my family and just go run somewhere. But I chose to do something about it. So I called up several people and I said, is there something in our environment that may be contributing to the high breast cancer rates? And actually, a few of them said, yes, there have been studies linking certain pesticides with breast cancer. So that became a whole new track for me, because then a whole new world opens up to me. And I joined other people around New York State and started educating people on environmental links to breast cancer. And that awareness made me feel more comfortable, because knowing what I could do to try to reduce risk in my own home was an extreme comfort, and I decided to share it with other people. So with that, after the first president of the Great Neck Breast Cancer Coalition, Barbara Masry, was stepping down, she had asked me if I would become president and bring my environmental platform to the coalition. Because originally the coalition was just about assisting newly diagnosed women, providing comfort bags for them when they were diagnosed, helping them to doctors, although our coalition still does something similar today with our Lend a Helping Hand program. So that was really the start of it. And do you want to know about how the student program
Yeah,
came
tell me about the student scientist program.
Okay, so after I started going out and speaking to all kinds of audiences, including schools, I would ask students if they knew what an endocrine or hormone disruptor was. Because part of the science that I found out, or I did the research on, was that there are certain chemicals that imitate estrogen, and estrogen plays a key role in the development of breast cancer. So I was really so overwhelmed and upset that there's certain chemicals that do that are in our everyday products. They're in our cosmetics, cleaning products, pesticides, which originally that was the first environmental assault that I ran after and became an activist. And many other consumer products where these endocrine disruptors are. Have you ever heard of an endocrine disruptor?
No, I haven't.
You see, so that's what really motivated me, because I knew that this was not part of the curriculum in science classes. And I felt that students today should know about these things. They should know about carcinogens in our everyday products, so you can make informed choices. And where are these endocrine disruptors? So after we had some funding available to us, we said, let's do some kind of like internship program. And I said, great, how about a students and scientists research program that looks at environmental links to breast cancer? Because I have been in touch with researchers around the country, going to conferences and reading their studies and several books on the issue, I felt confident in contacting some of these laboratories. And the first one was the Soto Sonnenschein Laboratory at Tufts University School of Medicine. And they were excited to take our first 2 students in 2005. So since then, which is now 2015, 11 years later, we have been at 9 different research facilities in the Northeast. And we have provided 45 internships.
Wow.
Yeah. So what we found so exciting about this is that not only are we providing a great opportunity for the next generation to get into science, which of course this is one part of the benefits of this program, but that when the students come back from the laboratories, they are actually scientists themselves. And they also, a lot of them become activists. And so we feel that that's very gratifying, and the public needs to know, and we want the next generation to carry this message out there, because it is such an important message, to learn how to reduce exposures or reduce your risk to breast cancer. Because we all have heard about watch your diet, exercise, don't drink too much alcohol. Yeah. It may be in your genes, but actually less than 10% of all breast cancer is due to family history or genetics. So not many people know about environmental exposures in breast cancer. So
we're trying to inform them. I didn't know either.
You didn't know either. And so all of these students, when they come back, or they will tell you that they've made changes in their lifestyles, their homes, their outlook, and so that was the whole reason for this particular program. We developed it and formatted it, and we're thrilled each year to be able to do it.
Where does your funding come from? Like, how do you guys get up to this point?
It's definitely, it's almost a magic act, because we receive donations, and we also sometimes get grants. We apply for grants. And also what we had to do this past year is we couldn't, each one of the student internships is between $2,000 and $3,000. And so we had to actually ask the parents this year to help supplement, because we couldn't launch 2015 without them helping us. So that's where the funding did come from this past year.
Who pays the fees of like housing and meals? Who provides you guys with that?
Okay, well, we set up the program. We set up, in January, we contact the researchers and we say, do you want to come on board for this year? And if they say yes, then we then set up the room and board, and our coalition for this past year paid for part of that. And as I mentioned before, the parents this year paid a supplemental fee.
Do you have any corporate sponsors?
We would love some, and if this particular show can attract any corporate sponsors, that would be 100% welcome, and we would be thrilled.
What are your future hopes for GNBCC?
Future hopes is to expand the program, to get more students on board. This past year we've had 9 students. The prior year we had 7. We would like to expand the program to more laboratories. We would also like to have more donations for our Lend a Helping Hand program that assists newly diagnosed women, because as I said before, we have a balance. We do continue with the with helping women who've been newly diagnosed, but we'd also like to focus on prevention of breast cancer through this program, and I also do lectures on breast cancer in the environment.
How does a student apply to GNBCC?
In January, they submit a one-page essay to us, and after that, we interview them. If we like their essay, then we need a science teacher recommendation, and after all of that, we make our selections, and we selected this group and others, and then after that, we set up room and board and so on, as I mentioned before.
Thank you so much, Laura.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. Our whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Next.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
So what brought you guys into science research?
Well, for me, I have for a while a passion in science, and when I first heard about GMBCC, I had a personal connection, and that was my aunt. She was diagnosed with dual ductal carcinoma.
Oh, I'm
and when I was,
sorry.
it's all right, thank you. But when I was told by my science teacher that I was able to join the Great Neck Breast Cancer Coalition, I felt like I would be able to fulfill my moral obligation to not only help my immediate community that is suffering with breast cancer, but also kind of help the global community and kind of raise awareness for something that I feel like anybody in the world can relate to.
Yeah.
So what started my involvement with science research was actually the Great Neck Breast Cancer Coalition, and one day in school I heard about this program and I thought it was so fascinating. So when I looked online to see their message, it really resonated with me because they're talking about finding environmental risks that could cause breast cancer and finding ways to prevent that. And as a Girl Scout, I thought that it was a great way to spread a community message. And so I applied for that program and I got it, and it was very enriching, and it was eye-opening to sort of find out all the things that are in our environment that could actually cause breast cancer.
And what are your names?
My name is Shahir Khan.
And I'm Robin Shum.
Okay.
So my interest in science research actually began in middle school. I joined a science research program and also in high school for the next 4 years. And I found out about GMBCC during my biology class, actually. And they said, if there are any people who want to research as an intern, you should apply. And I actually done past researches on the environment. So I figured that this would be a really good way to integrate my past research into what I've been doing.
So what drew me to research was actually I applied for my school science research program in 8th grade. And a lot of the school projects, in-house projects, are mostly psychology-based or fruit fly-based. And I've actually been with the Great Neck Breast Cancer Coalition for 2 summers now. And one of the great things that I really loved and drew me to the GMBCC was the opportunity that I can not only do research, but also apply my research directly to my community, especially because Nassau County has astronomically high breast cancer incident rates. I felt that not only would I be helping the world, but I'd also be able to, get my research out and educate the public on stuff that's really close to home.
So, excuse me. So I go to the same school as Michael, and we both applied for the same science research program in school. And I, like probably everyone in this room, was really interested in science, but the science classes being taught in school at the time were memorization and applications of equations, theories, different organs of your body. And science research was a class that really stood out to me because of how it was run. It was run on student innovation. It was run on student autonomy. All the experiments were designed by the students, and you can actually pursue a question that you actually wanted to answer. And in my second year in high school, I was notified to the GNBCC program by a friend, and I was immediately attracted to the program because one of my links with breast cancer and cancer in general. I've had many loved ones and close acquaintances who've gotten cancer, and one thing that really stood out to me was how helpless we really are to such a disease and diseases like cancer, and how hard it is really to find a solution. And also, as what Laura mentioned earlier, how little we actually knew and were taught about it in our high school. So I thought it was a great opportunity for me to pursue something I was passionate in and learn more about a topic that hopefully we can progress in and make advances into the future.
Much like Shahir, I really enjoyed my science classes, but oftentimes I found myself only sticking to theories. So when our Sewanaka High School has a really strong connection with the GNBCC, so when I heard that they had the Student and Scientist program, I naturally gravitated towards it because of the fact that of the flexibility and the autonomy that they give their students. I know that it's not really it's not a common thing for when different research programs can give students total leeway in what they want to pursue and what they want to research. Usually they give you a little small pigeonhole and say, this is what you're going to research and this is the applications for it. When I came to the GNBCC program, I found that we had almost no limitations except for the actual boundaries of the research. So I found that very freeing, and I also found that a very unique experience among research.
What motivates you guys to keep going? Like, how much energy and time do you put into your science research?
Well, science research definitely consumes a lot of your time. You have to devote hours actually into researching and then conducting projects and then analyzing. So it could take months, usually months, but you have to find a balance between schoolwork and science research. It's all part of high school.
Yeah, so research does take a lot of your time up, but what makes it really worth it is that you actually get to see results. So when you go into a research internship, you have questions that you want to answer, and throughout that entire experience, you're actually answering those questions as you go along. And what really makes it amazing is that you finally get the answers, and you get to share it out with other people you know, and get them to know what you found out.
Yeah, just like Jasmine and Robin said, but for me, I actually look at the end goal. Research takes a lot of patience, and me personally, I look at what I want to do later on, and I'd love to serve in the United States Army as a trauma surgeon in the medical field. And similarly, I feel like research is the same way. You have to be patient, and you have to really care about what you're doing. And when you begin a research project, it's like you have to guide it throughout its entirety, and it becomes a part of you. And similarly, I feel like going into the medical field, becoming a doctor in the Army, you'd have to have the same passion as you do with research. So that's what drives me.
I think research is really intensive, especially for a student, but I know the others can attest to this. When we came into the laboratories and we told them how long we have, at first we were thinking that it's going to be so long, what are we going to study? And they said 7 weeks. What are you guys going to do in 7 weeks? Like, the truth is, for researchers on like a collegiate scale or like a professional scale, they do things that span over years and years. So I think if anything, this is a good precursor for us, a good like run through to show us how time intensive it is, but also how rewarding it is at the end.
So, as Jasmine said earlier, research does get tough. It's incredibly time consuming, and it's incredibly hard because we're in high school and we've got to find a way to balance our schoolwork with the research that we're pursuing. But what keeps me motivated, I guess, is the actual experience itself. It's an experience that's incredibly unique that I know a lot of people our age especially, or a lot of people in general, don't get to have. And I'm motivated by the fact that I'm doing something that not a lot of people get to do, and not a lot of people can do, even if they wanted to. And I might not even be able to do any research like this or pursue research like this in the future. And a second thing is, research is a lot of work, it's a lot of reading, it's a lot of studying, and you have to invest a lot of time. But it's, I guess in a simple way, it's kind of fun. In a way, it's kind of like a puzzle. It takes a lot of problem solving, from like incredibly simple problems that you get in the lab, like getting stir bars stuck in beakers, to incredibly complicated scientific equations that you have to solve. So it's really improved my problem solving in general, and helped me in everything else I do in life later on.
So I would have to agree with what everyone else said, but about research being very time consuming from the minute you get into the lab to the minute you finish writing your paper. We went into the lab thinking, oh, science would be 9 to 5. And what we found was that most of the time we were working way past 12, maybe even 14 hours a day. And for me personally, what motivated me to keep going was the light at the end of the tunnel, where I would be able to take my results and showcase them to the public and interact with other professionals in the field. And one of the great opportunities I had with the Great Neck Breast Cancer Coalition was actually last year. Sunny and I and Robin traveled to San Francisco to take part in a national conference where there were many PhD students and even PhDs themselves who where we all gathered and we shared our results based on work that we did. So we presented our work on replacing toxic surfactants, and at the same time we were able to learn from and tell others about what we were doing and what they were doing. And I think that was really a big motivating factor for me to come back the second year.
Emily, I just want to say something about this particular group of students, okay? In the beginning, we sent students to biology labs looking at endocrine disrupting chemicals and on a biomolecular level, how that can transform the mammary gland in animal models. I was on a committee to try to, with the Environmental Protection Agency, and they wanted to replace bisphenol A or BPA in plasticizers. Have you heard of BPA-free and all of that? Actually, GMBCC with the New York State Breast Cancer Network got that BPA banned in certain children's products in 2010. But aside from that, what I found out was that you can't, you know, if you're going to ban something, you need a replacement.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, the replacement can be even more toxic. So what these students went to green chemistry, a green chemistry laboratory. And green chemistry is just chemistry, but looking for green alternatives or safer alternatives. And we felt that this was, even though it's very, very kind of almost revolutionary for a breast cancer coalition to send students to a green chemistry laboratory, because usually the students are studying DNA or you know, various other topics. But we feel that this is so important because you have to replace these toxins with something, and that's what each and every one of them worked on. All, some of them as partners or individually, as Jasmine did. They worked on replacing certain toxins, as Michael just had referred to. I'm sorry to interject, but I all of a sudden got that passion going, and I had to explain that. And I also just want to say one other thing. As far as the high cancer rates, when I was your age in high school, this was not an issue. And that's what also upset me, because people are too complacent that there's all these high breast cancer rates and other cancer rates, and why is that happening today? So that's why we're on environment.
Do you guys have any advice for students looking into getting into like the science program when they're older?
Well, I remember, and I think I told Laura this too. The first time I was told that I'm going to be working in a green chemistry lab, I was very excited that I would be able to work in one, but I was also like a little nervous because, you know, like Sunny and Sydney said, when you think of chemistry, you think about formulas and tables and all these like just it's so overwhelming. And I just want to say that if you ever want to go into science, don't worry about the workload. Just know that when you come out of it, you're going to learn a lot, and you're just going to know that there's going to be so much more to gain out of the experience you're going to get.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to meet you all. Until next time.
You can be a hero by being prepared for an emergency. First, make a plan. Call a family meeting to plan for things like how to connect with loved ones after an emergency or your escape route.
I am not fast.
Build a kit. When disaster strikes, it's important to have enough supplies to last 3 days. And don't forget the batteries.
Low battery.
Visit ready.gov/kids for more preparedness tips.
So Pete Suchman here, producer of SciTech Long Island. A couple of things I just wanted to throw out to our audience. The Long Island Science Congress seems to be the common denominator here for all these 10 wonderful student scientists. So to the teachers and students out there who are watching this show, please think about offering your students the opportunity to take part in the junior division and then the senior division Long Island Science Congress. And to the corporate sponsors out there who are looking for something to put their money into, this is an organization that really needs some help. There are kids out there whose parents can't afford to help, and this organization is looking for someone to help them provide some funding so that anyone who has the passion, you saw the passion in these kids, has the opportunity to attend the science and the Student and Scientist Research Program. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more shows coming up, and that's all for now. Thank you.